Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast on professional mobility in Europe. To mark European Disability Employment Week, which starts today, we're going to talk about a network that is still not very well known, EURES.
That's right. EURES is the European Network of Public Employment Services. Its goal? To help people work in another European country and to support employers who want to recruit beyond their borders.
But how does it work in practice? And above all, who can benefit from it?
EURES covers the 27 countries of the European Union, and in each country there is at least one EURES advisor within the public employment services. In terms of beneficiaries, anyone, whether in employment or looking for work, can start the process of moving to another European country with the help of their EURES advisor.
And how do you find out who to contact?
It's simple. Just go to the EURES platform, click on the EURES service section, then click on Search for EURES Advisors. There you will find a list and contact details for advisors near you. In France, EURES advisors also have specific expertise in disability issues. If you have a disability, you should therefore contact a EURES CHEOPS advisor, better known as Cap Emploi, for support. Please note, on the EURES website, advisors are listed under the name CHEOPS and not Cap Emploi, hence this distinction.
Very well. In this episode, we will be discussing several topics: recognition of disabled worker status, ergonomics at work and its benefits, and we will also hear from committed employers such as Cèdre, Weber, and Safran, who have agreed to share their experiences.
Throughout the podcast, you will hear from several speakers who have worked to present the French and German systems to you. We would like to warmly thank Odile, Hina, Mohammed, Naomi, Florian, and Farida from Cap Emploi 52, 68-67, 59, and 95, as well as our guests Dalia Choukroun from Weber and the HR and diversity team at Safran, including Michael Batrancourt, Virginie Macé, and Laura Ponty. And finally, Tony Monfort from Cèdre Argenteuil.
So whether you're looking for a job, tempted by an experience abroad, or simply curious to understand how European mobility works,
stay with us. We'll explain everything about the EURES network.
Can I work in France as a European citizen?
Yes, because free movement is a fundamental principle of the European Union. All European Union citizens, as well as their family members, can travel, study, work, and live in other European Union countries.
Okay, and what about people with disabilities?
There is no common European definition or recognition of disability. For example, someone recognized as disabled in one country may not be recognized in another country.
Is there a structure in France that officially recognizes disability?
Yes, it's the MDPH, Departmental House for Disabled Persons. It's a one-stop center for all disability-related procedures established by the 2005 Law on Equal Opportunities. It exists in every department in France and allows people with disabilities to submit requests based on where they live.
How can I obtain disabled worker statute in France?
First, you must reside in France. Then, you need to submit an application to the MDPH, including a medical certificate and a complete file.
And why should I apply for a recognition of disabled worker status? Hello everyone. Hina, we are both EURES advisors at Cap Emploi in the Grand Est region of France, northeast of France. You are an advisor at Cap Emploi in Alsace, and you regularly interact with Germany in the context of cross-border employment. Could you please tell us a bit more about that? Is there a structure in Germany that officially recognizes disability?
Yes, it's the regional social office, Landesamt für Soziales, that decides on the recognition of disability.
And how can I obtain disabled worker status in Germany?
You must either live or work in Germany and have a disability lasting more than 6 months. Then you need to submit an application to the regional social office along with medical diagnosis and reports. After evaluation, the office issues a disability card, Schwerbehindertenausweis, indicating the type of disability, the degree of disability from 20 to 100, and specific markers such as the need for assistance or reduced mobility.
And why apply for a recognition of disabled worker status in Germany?
It allows you to assert specific needs such as protection against dismissal after 6 months of employment, 5 additional days of leave for people with a disability rating above 50, the right to refuse overtime, job adaptation regarding working hours or environment, and tax exemptions. It's also possible to benefit from technical integration services, including personalized support, employer assistance, and financial aid.
Hello, everyone. Today we are joined by Ms. Eunice, Ergonomist and Employment Retention Officer at Cap Emploi 95. First of all, thank you, Fidel, for being with us today. To begin with, please introduce yourself in a few words.
I am an ergonomist and occupational therapist and currently work as a job retention officer. My career path has always brought me into contact with issues relating to health, work, and inclusion. My role is to help people to be able to carry out their work in good conditions, regardless of their abilities, and to support companies in building more sustainable and inclusive working environments.
What exactly is ergonomics?
Ergonomics is the adaptation of working conditions to the characteristics of the individual in order to ensure their health, safety, and performance. In concrete terms, this involves analyzing the way in which a person performs their tasks, their posture, the tools they use, the constraints of their environment, and the organization of their activity. Based on these observations, areas for improvement are identified in order to optimize comfort, safety, and performance at work. For example, for a highly computerized workstation, changes can be made to the configuration of the workstation, the height of the desk, the choice of chair, the positioning of the screen, or the addition of ergonomic equipment such as an adapted keyboard or mouse. But ergonomics is not limited to material aspects. It also involves thinking about the organization of work, task rotation, break management, and communication methods within teams. The ultimate goal is to enable everyone to work in conditions that protect their health, while promoting their efficiency and professional commitment.
Why is it important for people with disabilities?
Ergonomics is a major issue because it allows work to be adapted to the specific needs of each employee. When a person has a disability, it does not mean that they cannot perform their duties, but that it is sometimes necessary to adapt the working environment, whether in terms of the workstation, tools, or work organization. For example, installing voice recognition software can enable an employee who cannot use a keyboard to perform their tasks efficiently. In short, ergonomics is about moving from a constraint-focused approach to a solution-oriented approach, asking not what is impossible, but how to make the activity accessible and effective for everyone.
What advice would you give to someone seeking employment who has specific workplace accommodation needs?
Do not hesitate to talk about your needs, whether it is for a specific layout or simply to have the conditions that allow you to work efficiently. It is also important to plan ahead by thinking about the tools, organization, and work pace that suit you best, in order to create an environment that is both productive and comfortable.
What advice would you give to an employee or self-employed person in this context?
Do not wait for the situation to deteriorate. At the first signs of difficulty, it is important to talk about it, whether with occupational health services, management, or an employment retention advisor. The key is not to face the difficulty alone and to seek solutions quickly.
How can a workstation be adapted?
So, adapting a workstation always starts with a very concrete observation. We look at the movements, postures, constraints of the activity. The idea is to understand the context and specific needs of the person in order to propose adjustments that are truly relevant and effective. Often, we immediately think of ergonomic chairs, which is a good reflex, but there are many different types. For example, a height-adjustable chair for someone who alternates between sitting and standing, a seat with reinforced lumbar support for someone who sits for long periods of time, or a special seat for people with muscle or joint problems. But be careful. Adapting a workstation is not just about equipment or technology. There are also organizational adjustments to be made. Adjusting the pace of work, scheduling breaks, implementing teleworking, or varying tasks. And then there is the whole human and social aspect. Training and raising awareness among teams, setting up mentoring, individualized support. All of this contributes to inclusion and efficiency at work.
And what are the benefits for the company?
Adapting workstations is a win-win situation for everyone. First, it reduces sick leave and absenteeism, because employees can work without pain or excessive fatigue. Second, it improves productivity and work quality. When you have the right tools and a suitable environment, you make fewer mistakes. You are more focused and more efficient. And then there is a real impact on the social climate. It builds trust, reduces staff turnover, and also attracts a wider variety of profiles. Finally, it is excellent for the company's image. Showing that you invest in well-being and inclusion is a sign of responsibility and innovation. In short, ergonomics is not an expense. It is an investment in performance and health at work.
Do you have a concrete example of successful adaptation?
Yes, of course. I am thinking of an employee with schizophrenia who worked at a computer. He had difficulty concentrating and experienced a lot of stress during busy periods or when faced with unexpected changes. We implemented a comprehensive adaptation plan. On a technical level, we simplified his environment. 2 large screens, clear software, few notifications, and tools to organize tasks. Organizationally, his hours were adjusted, his schedule stabilized, and he was able to work in an isolated office on certain days. And on a human level, the team was made aware of schizophrenia and trained to provide supportive assistance. The result? Thanks to this combined approach, he was able to keep his job and regain a good balance.
And finally, a message to encourage inclusion.
Yes, I would say that it is not disability that prevents a person from working. It is often the lack of adaptation around them. The real obstacle is external, not internal. When we adapt the job, the organization, and, above all, the way others see us, we turn a difficulty into a resource. Inclusion is not about giving everyone the same thing. It's about giving everyone the right tools so that they have the same chances of success.
Thank you.
Regarding workplace accommodation needs, is there a specialized ergonomic service?
Yes, the Technical Advisory Service of the Federal Employment Agency in Germany is a specialized service offering technical, ergonomic, and workplace-related advice. It supports employers and employees so that people with health limitations can continue or return to work.
And what are its functions?
So its functions are tasks of the Technical Advisory Service as workplace analysis by assessing whether the current workplace is suitable or adaptable, or determining which technical or ergonomic aids are needed, for example, height-adjustable desk, special chair, screen reader, speech recognition software. Also, technical advice and suggestions for aids, as suggestions for technical aids, workplace equipment or modifications, advice on accessibility. Also, funding opportunities like cooperation with other benefit providers, pension insurance, accident insurance, social welfare office, some support with financing issues and funding application, statements required for funding decisions. Also some collaboration with businesses, supporting employers in the integration and employment of people with disabilities, and advising managers and colleagues.
Now, can you give us an example of a successful workplace adaptation?
Sure. So, example of successful workplace adaptation. For example, an office clerk suffers from severe back pain and when sitting for extended periods due to a spinal condition. Following a workplace assessment, the Technical Advisory Service recommends first an electrically height adjustable desk, an ergonomic office chair with lumbar support, a monitor mount for the correct screen height. As a result, the employee can now alternate between sitting and standing, works without discomfort, and is less absent from work due to illness. Hello, Anya.
Hello, Odile.
Tell me, Anya, we are both EURES advisors. EURES, European Employment Services, are dedicated to the free movement of workers in the European Union. I work in a Cap Emploi in northeast of France, which is a network supporting people with disabilities in their job searches. It would be interesting to exchange and inform our public about our respective practices regarding to that subject.
I'm Anja. I'm working for the Federal Agency of Employment in Potsdam as an advisor. And yes, so let's talk about the things which are the same or different in our countries.
Okay, perfect. To start with, Anja, can you tell us if it exists an obligation for companies to employ disabled persons in Germany?
Yes, we have an obligation for working with disabled people. Every company has to, and if they don't employ enough disabled people, they have to pay a penalty. But it is often difficult for the disabled to find the right company and for the company to find the right combining people and working together, as it is with all people working together difficult. Have you got the same obligation in France?
Absolutely. In France, a law was created in 2005. It confirms the obligation to employ disabled workers. That is 6% of disabled workers for companies with 20 or more employees. And there are financial penalties also for non-compliance with this obligation. These penalties support funds for the integration of people with disabilities, both in private sector and public sector. Are there special advisors dedicated to employment support of disabled people in Germany?
Yes, in Germany we have also advisors working with disabled. Our agency is this way. We don't listen the people after their disabilities. We listen the people after the jobs they do. So normally it is this way for people with a lower degree of disabled. They're going to the advisor as every other office working people would also do. And just if they have the necessary of rehabilitation or they can't work in the normal working area anymore, then they have a special advisor. When people have worked for 15 years already and they get disabled because of work or because of an injury or something like that, then they have to go to the Deutsche Rentenversicherung, which is for the social advisors necessary, and they will help to get a new job or a new education for getting a job.
In France, you can be supported by a disability employment expert such as Cap Emploi. Cap Emploi is a member of the French employment network. As I mentioned before, I work myself in a Cap Emploi. We are specialized in supporting individuals with disabilities in their journey toward employment, taking into account medical constraints as well as ensuring job retention. Our role involves guiding job seekers in developing and achieving their career goals, assisting companies with recruitment processes, and implementing workplace accommodations. Dalia, can we focus on people who cannot work in the classical working environment? Is there a special support for them in Germany?
Yes, as I mentioned already, we have companies just for this kind of people. In Potsdam is Oberlin, which is perhaps also known in French, which is part of a worldwide network working with disabled. I had once a client from Romania who get a job there. You need a permission document by a doctor, by a specialized doctor to get the access to this company. And he worked in the green sector, and so he had to cut greens and doing things outdoors like planting trees or something like that. The Oberlin company has also a part of elderly care, childcare, manufacturing with wood and metal, so that a bright range of possibilities of working can be shown for people who wants to have a need in life. We call it Teilhabe in Germany. So it is important for us that they have the opportunity to be part of a team, to be part of something creative or doing something which is important for a structure in life and being part of life. This kind of companies pay less taxes in Germany. So they can sell their products on other ways than in the normal sector.
In France, people who cannot work in ordinary workplaces and need protected working environment can apply in what we call entreprises protégées, or ESAT. These are supported employment establishments which are dedicated to people with special disabilities. As a matter of fact, this podcast happens to make a special focus on this type of company in France, so that I won't elaborate further on that subject, but it sounds pretty similar to what you described.
I think all European countries face similar issues to find answers to integrate people with disabilities, although there are many disparities in the approach of that matter.
Indeed, but let us remind the 2017 European Basic Set of Rights, promoting the inclusion of these people, setting the priorities of accessibility, decent quality of life, and independent living, and equal participation to society.
Yes, the proportion of people with disabilities without a job is twice as that of people without disabilities. But there is a European strategy to strengthen equality and non-discrimination. And as it is in France, we will also have in Germany a week for disabilities. It will be at the end of November, so it was a nice idea for doing this together to show that more countries and all European countries do things to help these people getting part of life.
Beautiful that we can collaborate as EURES supervisors and take our part in that virtuous strategy. Thank you, Anya.
Bye, Odile.
Bye-bye.
Today we welcome Dalia Choukroun, who is HR manager for the company Weber. Thank you, Dalia, for joining us today and agreeing to answer a few questions.
Thank you, Floriana.
To begin with, could you briefly introduce your organisation? What sector do you operate in? How big are you? And where are you based?
Weber Stephen France is the French subsidiary of the American Weber Group, which is the pioneer and world leader in the world of barbecues and outdoor cooking. We offer a wide range of charcoal, gas, and electric barbecues, as well as planchas, accessories, and even maintenance products. We recently merged with Blackstone, another major player in the sector, and the group is now called Weber Blackstone. We operate in several countries in the Americas, the EMEA region, and also the Asia-Pacific region. Our French headquarters are located in Ergonomics, near Paris, and we currently have just under 50 employees in France, compared to several thousand internationally. In France, our employees are mainly divided between sales, marketing, customer services, logistics, and other support functions. And of course, we work closely with our distribution partners across all countries, mainly in Europe. We also work with our internal and external colleagues, both in Europe and internationally.
Okay, so to follow up on that, what type of profile do you recruit most often, particularly for France?
Our main functions are organized around three main areas. First, we have a large sales and marketing department whose goal is to support our partners and develop the brand on the French market. We also have a customer service department, which is there to ensure the best possible experience for users of our products. And finally, we have support and logistics teams, who are there to ensure smooth and efficient operations. So we mainly recruit sales profiles, as well as digital marketing specialists and customer service experts. All must share a passion for gastronomy and must also have outdoor experience. At our company, team spirit, friendliness, and passion for the product are qualities that we particularly value.
Okay, thank you. In terms of including people with disabilities, what concrete actions have you been able to implement to promote diversity and equal opportunities?
It's true that at Weber we believe diversity is a strength. We have implemented several initiatives to promote equal opportunities and an inclusive working environment. This includes an HR policy focused on transparency, pay equity, and team diversity. In France, we have a team that is mainly female, which is quite unusual, but yes, that's the case. We also provide internal training on diversity awareness and unconscious bias. We are all human, and we all have our tendencies and biases, so it is very important to raise awareness about the perception of these biases. Finally, we pay particular attention to work-life balance. We have a hybrid working model, which is implemented internationally in all Weber offices around the world. We have a hybrid working policy with a certain number of days in the office and other days at home. We believe that this ensures the long-term well-being of our employees. And of course, for people with disabilities, we provide specific accommodations to welcome them and enable them to do their work with as little impact as possible.
Okay, precisely. Let me follow up on that. How do you support these employees with disabilities in terms of workplace adjustments? What kind of adjustments have you had the opportunity to implement?
Typically, for this type of employee, the kind of accommodation we are willing to put in place is to adapt their workstation and all their work tools. In fact, we recently had a case with you. We also agreed to adapt their schedules to their specific needs if necessary. We also provide them with personalized support through our HR teams, including myself. And their managers, who are often well aware of their situation, will take their conditions into account in the way they perform on a day-to-day basis. Finally, we set up partnerships with specialized organizations that facilitate their integration and retention. At Weber, our corporate culture is centered around kindness and collaboration. The idea is to enable everyone, regardless of their personal situation, to find their place within the company.
All right, in terms of European partners or candidates, have you had the opportunity to work on projects with the European side?
Weber is an international company with a strong presence in Europe. Working on a European scale is part of our work culture. We have European partners at all levels, whether in marketing, HR, accounting, or finance. So we are part of a European organization that is very well structured, with constant exchanges between our subsidiaries on topics such as sales, marketing, HR strategies, and training. These collaborations offer valuable opportunities because they allow us to share our practices, ensure consistency within the group, and adapt our strategies to local specificities. In my role in HR, I support 5 European countries in particular. In my day-to-day work, I collaborate with my HR colleagues across EMEA to exchange knowledge, harmonize our processes, and ensure consistency in our practices across the European region.
In this context, did you have the opportunity to work with the EURES network, or did you not use it?
From a purely theoretical point of view, the EURES network is an excellent opportunity for both companies and candidates. I believe that it enables employers to find skilled talent across Europe while promoting mobility and the exchange of skills. For candidates, of course, it opens the door to new professional and cultural experiences within companies as dynamic as ours. But then, speaking specifically about Weber, although recruitment is part of the HR function, I don't supervise it directly, and I'm not sure we are making full use of this network for our recruitment needs. I do not supervise it directly, and I am not sure that we are making full use of this network for our recruitment needs. That said, I recognize its potential to strengthen cooperation between European labor markets, which I believe is increasingly essential in today's globalized economy.
To conclude, what message would you like to send to the European partners and candidates who will be listening to us today?
It's a bit like what I said at the outset. At Weber, we share more than just expertise. We share a passion for taste, for conviviality, and also for innovation. We believe in the power of collaboration, diversity, and curiosity. So, to all European candidates, dare to apply. Embrace mobility and come and share your energy with us and our partners. Let's continue to build together a professional environment where everyone can flourish and develop. That's my message to candidates and partners.
That's a great message. Thank you, Dalia.
Hello, everyone. Today we are joined by Mr. Batrancourt, HR Director at Safran, Ms. Laura Ponty, General Services Project Manager and Disability Advisor, and Ms. Virginie Macé, Head of CSR and Diversity. First of all, I would like to thank you for agreeing to participate in this podcast. To begin with, could you briefly introduce your organization? What sector do you operate in? How big are you and where are you based?
Yes, we are a business unit of Safran, specifically the Actuation GBU. The GBU has 2 sites in France, one in Saint-Marcel and one in Saint-Ouen-l'Aumône. We have 1,020 employees across these 2 sites. Our business is that we are the world leaders in actuation. So what is actuation? It is a hydraulic cylinder that activates a part of an airplane or helicopter. To put it simply, when you land, you see small flaps opening on the wings. To open these flaps, you need a hydraulic cylinder, and that's what we manufacture for our customers, mainly Airbus and Airbus helicopters.
Very good, thank you. What are the main jobs within your organization and what type of profile do you recruit most often?
So the bulk of our activity is production. Therefore, the jobs we recruit for most often are production jobs such as assemblers and testers. At the Saint-Marcel site, we also have machining positions, but in order to manufacture and produce, we also need to develop, so we also have an engineering platform, which means we recruit engineers in all engineering disciplines, as well as some support functions to assist with development and production.
Great! What concrete actions have you put in place to promote diversity and equal opportunities?
Hello. What Batrancourt didn't tell you is that recruitment is done in an innovative way by the HR department. That's what will bring diversity to our company. We look at a person's potential and natural talent. That's how we achieve diversity, including people with disabilities and all other types of diversity. That's a concrete action. We also use recruitment channels with Cap Emploi and Hanvol to promote diversity. As a result, today, 6.8% of the people at our sites have disability recognition status. This number is increasing thanks to collaboration with an entire internal and external ecosystem. In terms of inclusion, we are going to take a lot of action, as the company's vision is to enable everyone to succeed and have their place while making a difference in their communities. To this end, we will be raising awareness, for example, through initiatives organised together with the entire ecosystem. This year, we trained 600 of our employees in better inclusion of people with disabilities. We asked ourselves how we could better include our colleagues and how our managers could better include people, for example. There is one major concrete action that we are proud of, and that is enabling our employees to get involved in causes. We have a committee for engagement, employment, and disability. We also have Laura, who is the leader of this committee, so I'll give her the floor to continue talking about concrete actions.
Okay, great, thank you. So the next question is, how do you support employees with disabilities or those with special needs in their jobs? Hello, we have a commitment, employment, and disability committee within the company, both in Saint Marcel with my co-leader, Sébastien Prévost, and in Saint-Ouen. There are about 10 of us who volunteer for this committee to run it and share it with employees on a daily basis. This committee really brings together a diverse range of professions. We have people from production, engineers, and also people from support functions. This is really valuable because it allows us to deal with a variety of cases and types of disability within our organization. In practical terms, we have several action plans in place. Firstly, the physical layout of our sites, which means that we are undertaking work to make our sites accessible. We are also working to raise awareness among employees. To this end, we are working with Cap Emploi 95 and Cap Emploi 27, which, during committee meetings we call coffee breaks, allow us to discuss with our employees what disabled recognition is, and we are also taking concrete action in the field. For example, we raise awareness about dyslexia. We brought in a partner called Lily for Life with a revolutionary lamp. We also organize Festi Run. This is an intercompany race that raises funds for APF France Handicap. We also keep our employees in work, which means we work on adapting their workstations, whether that involves physical adjustments, such as installing an ergonomic chair or desk, or conducting supervised trials in production with occupational health services. Cap Emploi and our Human Resources Department, precisely to keep our employees in work and, to have more favorable working conditions that take into account their disabilities. And that's a really important point. It allows employees to feel better in their jobs, which are adapted to them, while keeping them in work. So there you have it. We really have a lot of work to do, and the goal is for everyone to be equal and for everyone to feel good within the company. And so we share moments together where employees come to us for advice. And that is also our goal within the committee. Very good, very good. Thank you for that comprehensive answer, which has given us all the information we need. Thank you very much. Are you currently recruiting internationally? And if so, have you already used a system such as EURES?
In terms of recruitment, let's say that the people we recruit are not necessarily all international, and to be completely honest, I am not familiar with that model. But I am quite interested in finding out more about it. It's true that most of our candidates come from France, with very few from abroad and very few from other countries, although we do have a few cases. I can think of one person who came from Brazil for an engineering position. So it does happen, but I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with this model, so I'm ready to listen and see what it's all about and how it can help us.
Very well. In any case, it could open up some great opportunities for our partnership to develop. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your answers, and thank you for agreeing to participate in this podcast. Hello, everyone. Today we are joined by Mr. Monfort, Head of Human Resources at Cèdre. First of all, thank you, Tony, for being with us today and agreeing to answer our questions. To begin with, I will let you introduce yourself and tell us a little about the company you work for. Then we will move straight on to the questions.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. It's a real pleasure to share this moment with you, with Cap Emploi. Tony Monfort, Head of Human Resources at Cèdre, a disability-friendly company celebrating its 20th anniversary this year.
Could you tell us more about the sector you work in?
Our core business is recycling. We work with public and private companies to collect and recover various types of waste. In total, we recover 25 categories of waste. We operate in several departments in the Île-de-France region, 95, 92, 80, 14, and 60.
Thank you for this presentation. Just to clarify, what are the main roles within your organization, and what type of profile do you recruit most often?
So, there are two distinct branches. At the Argenteuil site, which is our largest site and also houses our head office, we have around 30 people dedicated to support functions, which are essential for the development of the business. This includes HR, sales, marketing, etc. And then the second core area, which is very important for us, is industrial operations, where we mainly need sorting agents, light vehicle drivers, heavy goods vehicle drivers, and possibly forklift operators too. So it's mainly in these really industrial, hands-on jobs that we will be recruiting. And then the profiles we are looking for will be versatile or progressive. What we like is that, for example, a sorting agent today can envisage a career path to become a driver or a forklift operator tomorrow, and we will support them in this career path.
Okay, perfect. So you are a company that is very committed to inclusion issues since you are an adapted company. What concrete actions have you put in place to promote diversity and equal opportunities?
Well, it starts right from the recruitment stage. I would also like to say that all positions are open to people with disabilities, so we work with employment agencies to offer all kinds of positions. And then we always work with the account on the job retention side, where we need to work on job adjustments or other things. We also raise awareness among the teams if there is a need for specific information. Then, throughout the person's integration process, we follow up to make sure that everything is going well and that there are no adjustments that we may not have anticipated at the outset, but that may be necessary later on in the job. We also raise awareness among the teams about disability.
How do you support employees with disabilities and those with special needs? And what specific measures do you take, apart from the monitoring you mentioned earlier? What specific measures do you put in place?
It's going to be a bit of a day-to-day support system, where the manager or the employee, when they arrive at Cèdre, goes through a 3-month integration program, regardless of their contract. They have several regular meetings with their manager, perhaps their line managers, and with the HR department, so that we can monitor their progress.
Okay. Have you ever had the opportunity to work with European partners or candidates on your projects? And if so, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, actually we had a Spanish colleague who was doing really well. She worked in the sales department, so we hired her. It was really a gut feeling. We had seen her at a disability talent forum, and it was via video chat. It worked out really well, but it was difficult to integrate her because of the language barrier and the fact that the laws are so different. So we had a few minor difficulties in supporting her integration.
All right, very well. So, at that point, were you aware of the measures that had been put in place specifically to support you in integrating this employee?
Well, actually, no. I discovered a little bit about what EURES has to offer, and I think it's great because it provides real assistance, even if it's just information or support. We would have loved to have had that kind of support, and it's true that maybe that's what's missing. At least, we don't have enough information. I don't think we've looked hard enough, but I think what the service offers is great because ultimately it really helps to integrate people who are also European, but who, well, we're looking beyond the borders of France, and I think that's really good. So it's a great initiative, I think.
To conclude, what message would you like to send to the European partners and candidates listening to us today?
There are no barriers. We see no obstacles, only advantages and opportunities. So I would like to say, come and try the adventure at Cèdre.